Ready for a digital dive? You're listening to the GZ Chop Shop podcast, the weekly tech and gaming media podcast that breaks down the latest news, lore, and more. So plug in, because the GZ Chop Shop starts now.
Yo, welcome back, everybody, to another week of the GZ Chop Shop podcast. We are pretty much well into 2023. I say that, but we're like in the first month. But there's been a lot happening for gaming already.
Now, this is the first month of the paradox, because I think we can all agree that something happened around 2015, 16, and shit's not right. We're in some weird parallel paradox. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm crazy, but something's off, okay? I feel like I'm going to die, like I'm going to become like 80, or, you know, God forbid I live to 80. Jesus Christ, that sounds horrible. Like, I hope I die about 65, 70. Everything after that just looks terrible. But I feel like, you know that Rick and Morty episode where fucking Morty is playing the game, and then he lives a whole life, and then he dies. Yeah. Like, that's gonna be, I swear to God, I'm gonna die and wake up and be like, oh shit, I'm fucking 20.
You played a whole game. How messed up would that be?
Thank God that wasn't real.
How messed up would that be for you to just wake up and realize the life you lived was just actually a game, and you didn't realize you were playing it?
Oh my God, I that's what I feel like when we die and then we're reborn, it's like we woke up and never went to sleep. And then the vice versa is true. You know, it's like we went to sleep and it's like we were never awake. And then we have our memories erased and then we fucking go again. It's like, we're a fucking simulation. Okay, anyways, before we go,
now that we've messed with everybody's mind with this opener.
Simulation, okay? None of this is real.
Well, before we actually get into the meat and potatoes, surprisingly, that was not the meat and potatoes, but before we get into the meat and potatoes, I can't even talk. I'm having a glitch in the system. I want to tell you guys, make sure to check out our store, the gzshop.com. Tons of exclusive merchandise right there. If you guys love the show, you can grab yourselves one of these amazing Chop Chop hoodies that I'm wearing, or an Original Series Network t-shirt like Warner's is wearing. They are comfortable, sleek, amazing designs, and affordable. So
they make good gym shirts too.
Oh, we have Fighter on Lock. We got a new gym shirt line, Fighter on Lock. Go grab yourself some amazing apparel from our store and show your love and support for the show and pretty much the live streams, everything else we do. gzshop.com. Use code GZChopShop and save on your order. So make sure to go do that. Check it out. All right. Now, what I want to talk about in this episode, 2023 is underway, and it is definitely looking like it's going to be a very busy year for gaming. And it's already pretty much has kicked off. So what's happened? Well, one, we got PlayStation saying the crisis is over. You can get yourself a PS5 now without struggling.
How convenient of the gaming industry to suddenly have things available at a better price.
Yeah. Funny story about a PS5 and regarding me, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And we also have a lot of amazing games lined up for this year. We've got The Legend of Zelda dropping for the Switch. We've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming out, and all of these are within like the next few months, like before we hit July. Final Fantasy 16 is coming out. Dead Space is coming out. You know, we've got a lot of amazing games lined up for this year.
And at the same Space time, one's a remake, like a complete remake, or just a graphical? No,
it's a
update?
Remake. It is a remake.
Oh man, that's gonna be hit or miss, dude. Because that's such a iconic horror game. You know, especially for the time it came out. So
yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's kind of scary because it's not as far as I know, it's not the original team that's working on it, because Visceral Games is no more. So how heavy-handed has EA been in this remake? But the thing is, EA,
do you want a better gun to deal with the enemies on the other side of the door? If you stop right there at that little kiosk, you can, for the low price of $5, buy yourself a brand new weapon.
Yep.
If you want
that's $5 real
some
dollars.
skins, you can pay $1 for a skin. Jesus Christ, EA. Fuck EA. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cuss as much on the show, but EA sucks.
EA they are the ultimate bad guy, but at the time when they know they need to save face, save, their name and brand, they let an occasional gem drop.
Titanfall.
And Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order. It's a phenomenal
is better
game.
than Apex, and I don't care. I'll die on that hill.
I mean, I'm with you on that one. Like, I tolerate Apex because my friends played it and it was a good chance to play. And in the beginning, when Apex first came out, I loved it. When it first came out, I loved Apex. But then everyone got on Apex. And then it just got steadily worse, in my opinion. It's like once all the sweat people started having a say, Apex just lost its way and it lost my interest. Like, I come back every now and then because, one of my buddies he like really got into it as I was falling off of it. And like, I'm like, all right, I'll play. And then there's a few characters that I like that pop up, but then I'm like, it's just not for me anymore. Like back when it wasn't so doggone sweaty, it was actually fun and enjoyable. Now it's just like, if you're not a sweat fest person and you don't keep up with like all the little nuance changes and stuff that they're doing, it's definitely not the game for you, because it's not the game for me anymore. But to each their own. But yeah, there's a lot of big things happening in this year. One, ZeniMax has formed a union under Microsoft. For anyone who doesn't remember, Microsoft bought Bethesda, which, that's its software, ZeniMax. And now ZeniMax has formed a union for their quality assurance teams. Now, anyone who knows what the QA people do, I'm not discrediting what they do. They're basically the game testers, which I guess for a Bethesda game, being a game tester could be very stressful because those games are always loaded with bugs. But they have formed a union, and Microsoft basically couldn't deny it because they signed a neutral contract with the CWA to stay neutral in those kind of situations. They can't be for or against. They have to remain neutral. And since there was enough support for it, Microsoft basically had to recognize it. And a lot of people are side-eyeing Microsoft recognizing this union because the CWA, after Microsoft agreed to the neutrality contract and signed it, they gained support behind them by the CWA for their acquisition of Blizzard Activision. So a lot of people are looking at Microsoft like, you did that just to get some support to push through your deal of the Blizzard acquisition, because they need all the support they can get. They got the, Federal Trade looking at them like, this seems to be a monopoly. There's a lot of obstacles popping up in their way. So I think Microsoft will do whatever it takes to get that deal to close. And one of my predictions is that deal will finalize this year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
One, do people actually think that unions are the answer to corporate America and all the problems that come with it? Because it's not. It's a naive shot in the dark, and unions are cults. You give them money, they say they have your back, they fight for you, you get laid off for a little bit and then get to come back. They give you a fucking t-shirt for participation and then you go back. It's so fucking stupid, dude. Unions are a cult, and it's like this. It's like a child's way of trying to fix an adult problem. That's what it is.
It's actually funny the way you describe unions, because when with the postal service they operate with a union, and that's exactly how it went.
Yep.
That's exactly how it
is.
went, even down to the t-shirt. And they didn't have my back because I already had a problem.
You know who it hurts? It hurts the consumer. That's who it hurts. It just further hurts the consumer, because now the companies have to dish out all this extra money for themselves, and for to defend themselves or aid in per contract for the people that are unionized. Which, what do you think that does? It raises prices. It's just another thing that raises prices and hurts everybody else. And guess what? All those people at the end of the day get after they pay their little union fees, they get a fucking water bottle or something. Like, shit.
We get to feel like we were a part of something. So here's my question to you. Blizzard Activision was very adamant on the prevention of unions when they were independent. They would do everything in their power to stop unions from forming under their banner. Now that Microsoft is more than likely potentially going to own them, Microsoft has this neutrality. What do you think is going to happen now with the Blizzard Activision section of Microsoft? Because they were super anti-union, and now ZeniMax has a union.
Activision Blizzard's been real quiet the past couple years since they got in trouble for all the shit that came out.
Mm-hmm. You think they're just going to take the name?
I think a lot of people are going to be let go, and a lot of things, once again, people are going to be replaced, and things are going to be reorganized again. We're going to see a new CEO again. And, I'm losing my passion for video games in this era, because it's like there's such a huge greed aspect to everything. And then the shitty workplaces come out, and then everyone's getting fired and let go. It affects the games. Games get delayed. They don't come out as great. They come out unfinished, and then unfinished, and then unfinished. And then you get another DLC that still doesn't finish the first game. And then Microsoft comes along and once again buys another studio, doesn't fix any of the problems. And then they buy more studios, and more studios, doesn't fix any of the problems because they just want more money. And then everyone gets fired again, and then a new CEO every couple of years. Like, there's no consistency anymore in the gaming industry. It's just, it's like garbage is just being regurgitated, and Microsoft and Blizzard and Activision and even Sony, all of them, they just, at the end of the day, they go, well, that's just business.
Yeah, I actually agree with that sentiment. That at the end of the day, they just literally look at the problem. They go, well, that's just business. How do we recover our losses? And I'm glad that you brought up, the whole monetary angle of this, because, and this was from a Bloomberg article that actually recently came out. Gaming actually, in terms of profit, took a dip. 4.3% dip. After 2 years of COVID boosted growth, the games market declined 4.3% last year to 184.4 billion, which, yes, that's still a lot of money, but it was still a step backwards. And according to estimates from Gaming Analytics, one reason, and this is what you literally mentioned, is that a lot of highly anticipated titles scheduled for release were delayed.
Yeah.
And that's becoming the norm.
It's becoming the norm. They hype people up. And I at this point, they know they're getting delayed. Like they know when a game is going to get delayed, but they wait until the time of release, for the most part, or close to the time of release, to say something. And then they get like 3 more years or something to get the game out, right? And then they blame everything else but themselves. And then they put the game out, and then it's unfinished and buggy. And then they're like, oh, now we're going to raise prices, and here's $70. You pay us $70 for this unfinished buggy game. And then I hope you vote for us at the Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, pretty much. And another thing is, there's so much the Sony and Microsoft, and well, maybe not so much Nintendo, because Nintendo is pretty stubborn, but definitely Microsoft. are trying to dominate specific fields, and Microsoft is appealing to everyone's need for easier accessibility. Because with the Game Pass, they have their, you can play on your phone, you could play on your computer, you could stream our games from anywhere you want for the low cost of whatever Game Pass costs right now. I don't know, because I don't have Game Pass. I don't like Microsoft that much anymore.
Yeah, it's like $20 or something.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Sony is trying to keep everyone in their ecosystem. Like, they ease up a little bit with their multiplayer games, but for the most part, they try to keep everyone in their ecosystem. Like, you play your stuff on our hardware with our stuff, no third party. And it's this tug of war, and it's gotten really bad over the years. And honestly, and I only say this because they pulled the trigger first, because it would have been the same if Sony pulled the trigger first, but because Microsoft pulled the trigger first, they got the whole ball rolling of this tug of war, especially just before COVID, but definitely during COVID, of wanting to conquer the gaming market and the metaverse, which, can we also point out, to this day, no one can tell you what the metaverse is. No one knows what the metaverse is.
You know what? I have a great thought process on what the metaverse is. Digimon Cyber Sleuth. You don't have to play it to know what it is, but Digimon is you go into a virtual world, you upload your avatars, and then Digimon are like these sort of programs that have come to life on their own, and it involves like hacking and just all kinds of stuff. But when I think of the metaverse, that's what I think of. Like a virtual world where you can do anything, and there's programs that you can utilize, and you can walk around and do stuff. Like, that's what comes to mind. And I was actually thinking this yesterday, because I was showing my kids the couple Digimon games, because they've gotten into it, and we're like, we're so close. Like, if any video game world could come to life, it would be Digimon. Like, think about it. It's not that far-fetched. If AI were to get intelligent enough to have like creatures that are like viruses and data that can like also equally communicate with you and aid you or hurt you, all inside a giant virtual world, like that sounds more real to me than any other like fantasy world ever has, because of how crazy technology is getting.
So in that same thread, here's a question for you. If we're at this point where we could have that stuff, and you've got companies like Microsoft pushing for it and Facebook trying to create it, why do you think VR is still so niche?
That's simple. That's because the virtual world, the meta world, whatever you want to call it, itself is still niche, because we as a society still don't understand it. There's the people that are in the metaverse that are messing with it aren't as many as people think. It's not a lot of people.
I want to say, like, I agree. Like, it's because people don't understand, and you fear what you don't understand, and you insult and downplay what you don't understand, because you don't want to admit that you're not willing to learn it. So instead you downplay it and insult it to make yourself feel better. That's my personal take. If I've offended you, sorry, not sorry. But in terms of VR has been around for a long time, like longer than people think.
Yeah, but it's also not like, it's not like financially lucrative. It's not something you can just like it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. And it's expensive enough that it needs to be a hobby you're consistent with. Otherwise, it's a very, very pricey piece of equipment that's just sitting there going unused.
And another thing that one of the articles I read went into, another reason people aren't so into the VR and in turn the metaverse, is because there isn't an application that they feel is personally worth it. Like most, like VR caters mostly to gamers. Like me diving into RE4, beautiful. Diving into Beat Saber, amazing. And for a lot of those, FPS focused people, there's plenty of shooter games. You can dive into Star Wars, but for your average person and for your mobile gamers, which also, fun fact, mobile gaming is literally taking over. As much as that pains me to say, mobile gaming is on the verge of leading the market, which I get why, because everyone has a cell phone. So it's an easier market because everyone has a cell phone and everyone has access to an app store. It's more convenient, which is another reason why Microsoft wants such a big hand in it and why they opened up the gates with their Game Pass and stuff, because they're like, we can get our games to everybody. It's a smart move, as annoying as it is. So a lot of people are probably thinking, well, why do I need this beyond my phone? There's no apps. I feel metaverse won't see a turnaround until, and I hate to say this, but just watching how people have been since 2020 to now, as fucked up as this is going to sound, tell me if I'm wrong. The metaverse would blow up if there was an interactive Instagram and OnlyFans.
Oh, 100%.
The metaverse would take off. If they ignored gaming for a year or so and catered to the social media, not just social space, but social media, interactive TikTok, Instagram, OnlyFans, the metaverse would suddenly explode. And then everyone would jump on that bandwagon in the metaverse, which that could be a whole conversation of itself of why I think that, but I'll let you guys come to your own conclusions on that one, because that's like an argument that is like been had for forever now, because what the statistics came out, like over 70% of Americans have an OnlyFans account. It's a huge number. Like at first it was 50, but now it's like up to 70% have an OnlyFans account. I don't remember if that was like they're on it as a creator or they just have one to, have it, but the number's huge. And I was like, oh, and that's when I sat there and I said, if the VR realm went in and the metaverse opened up to that, we would see it suddenly take off. Because let's be honest, one of the other reasons the gaming industry blew up, there's two. People wanted to try something new and games offered that. So sheer boredom. I will grant that was a case. But another thing that also helped games blow up was platforms like Twitch and YouTube. And definitely on Twitch, because of how it was presented and the presenters playing these games helped. Gaming became a form of social media in its own way.
Oh,
it
yeah,
became
absolutely.
a form of social media.
Yeah.
So
Discord's a huge example. It's its own form of social media. I don't like to call it that, but that's what it is.
Yeah. And thank you once again, Discord, for not selling to Microsoft. Thank you for sticking to your guns. Greatly appreciate it. Even all this time later, still appreciate it, because I don't think Discord would have made it had Microsoft got their hands on it. Or that's just my take.
Had they made it, it would have absolutely turned into something completely different.
It would have been a subscription-based service.
Subscriptions and yeah. Anytime like Microsoft wants to touch something, it's because they want to take it and make money off of it and turn it into some kind of subscription-based service.
Yep. It would have been like, oh, if you want to have the stuff you have now for free, get our Game Pass. And then you'd have been sucked into getting their Game Pass just so you could keep using your Discord services free. This is just my hypothetical opinion, just based off of trends of Microsoft, tendencies in the past. But for a final thought on more of a positive note, there's a ton of games coming out this year. Are there any you're looking forward to?
To be honest, no. Like, honestly, no. Not a single game has stood out to me, and I've been like, man, I can't wait to play that. But I'm in a bitter position right now. Like, I was going to say, bitter.
Like, you're done.
I'm done. Like another sequel. But it's the same game as the last 5 games. Like, maybe Final Fantasy does a pretty damn good job of bringing to life a whole new story. So I give Final Fantasy that, but it feels like half the games coming out again are unfinished and buggy, and followed by 9 DLCs that suck. And then, if it's not that, it's just reboots and remakes. I'm not going to buy the new Dead Space. I played Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. They were great games. I read the comics. I the books. Like, I've read a lot of crossover comics between Dead Space and other things. Like, I love Dead Space, and you want me to play some remake that maybe graphically looks better, but you're going to change the game? Like, nah, get out of here. Like, I'm so bitter with the gaming industry right now. I'm the last person to ask what game I'm looking to forward to. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep chilling, and I'm going to keep playing chill games like Phasmophobia. I like that game when I'm in the mood for it. I love my Mech Warrior games. Those are very niche, but they're strategy and action. I love those. Maybe, there is a Mech Warrior DLC coming out. I'm very excited for that. I'm excited to see it get love. So yeah, none of the games. I'm tired of FPS games. They're all the same to me. None of them are innovative or different than any other one. They're always just a sequel, but really a remake of the previous one. It's just, I have nothing positive to say, regardless of the fact that you just said you wanted to end on a positive note.
I was like, so much for that.
Bitchy person right now.
Okay. I will attempt to end on a positive. I do have some that I'm looking forward to. So I recently came into getting a PS5 conveniently right before Sony says the crisis is over. You can get a PS5, despite the one I got being the last in stock of where I got it from, which, guys, you do have the option. I don't know how many people do this. If you don't want to drop like $500-$600, try using a firm, or there's other companies that will basically pay for the console, and then you do small payments over the next few months and pay off your system, and it also helps build your credit. You can literally use it to build your credit.
It's Walmart layaway for nerds.
Exactly, Walmart layaway for nerds. Because I got my PS5 for $2.73.
I have never seen you end an episode on look what I have. Fuck you. Like, what?
I mean, I got it
done.
But no, I do have some games that I'm looking forward to, and I'm glad that I was able to finally get my hands on a PS5, because I do want to play the Resident Evil 4 remake because I skipped all the remasters. The only time I got a new Resident Evil was when it came to the PS3 and the VR version. Because once I started seeing that remasters, HD remix, all that was becoming a thing, that got annoying. And they Skyrim'd it. But then they said, hey, we're going to remake it. And I was like, now
why does
have my attention?
Why does Skyrim'd it sound like a sexual exploit?
Hey, if you want to try that Skyrim move.
Jesus Christ, don't say it like that.
But Legend of Zelda. I'm still glitched in the system. This new Zelda game, I definitely want that.
The owner of your little simulation who's playing you as a character, he's like, let's make this black guy a hick.
Bro, he dropped the controller.
For no reason. He dropped the controller.
Dead Space did pique my interest. I'm willing to give it a try. Final Fantasy 16 is also on my list, and obviously Star Wars. I've got about 5 games that are on my radar. However, I will probably not be getting them at launch. I won't probably be getting those games like day one. And I'll talk about that in another episode. But those are the 5 games that are on my radar. So yeah, looking forward to those. So if you guys have any games that you're interested in that you think are going to be blockbusters for 2023, we'd definitely love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about 2023? What are some of your predictions for the market, games, anything happening in the industry? Do you have any conspiracy theories? Because I love my conspiracy theories. Do you have anything that can get Warner's even more fired up that we may not have discussed? Let us know. Visit our website, osntachmedia.com. Go to the show page, GZ Chop Shop, and send us your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. And if you guys want to catch these episodes right after they're made,
or catch these hands
on Patreon. Catch these hands. But hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/OSM Media, where you get all these episodes super duper early, along with exclusive perks and exclusive codes that you can use in our soon to be 2 stores. So keep an eye out for that. We actually are going to be working with Fourth Wall and building a very brand new store. So a lot of the items that you guys have been requesting will be popping up over there. So be on the lookout for that. I have more on that in the future. Anyway, you guys have been amazing. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourself and each other. We'll catch all of you wonderful people in the next episode. Later.